Welcome to Stitchery Stories, where textile artists share their life in fabric and thread, inspiration, techniques, disasters and delights. And I'm Susan Reeks, enthusiastic embroiderer and textile art dabbler who also loves podcasting. So take a break and enjoy our light-hearted chat, and please share with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Hello and welcome today to our lovely guest, Claire Fell. Hi Claire.
Hi Sue.
It's lovely to be speaking to you today, Claire. Yeah, lots of things to talk about today. So here's a quick bio from Claire. Claire Fell lives and works in rural Warwickshire. Claire studied fine art and related art at Chichester Institute after graduating in 2000. She trained as an ecclesiastical embroiderer, designing and producing church vestments. This unusual vocation rekindled her love of using cloth and thread. And Claire's had many career changes, which I'm sure we'll get to, but has always returned to her first love, which is art. And Claire currently practices textile art part-time, as she's also a carer for elderly people. So Claire has an instinctive need to make and do, and admits to being unable to settle on a medium or style, and she finds herself being pulled in many directions. One moment she will be producing realistic embroideries of people or animals, and the next she may be using yarn, fabric and mixed media to create abstract embroideries that can be used to make items such as jewellery, bags or boxes. But the constant theme running through Claire's work is the use of water-soluble film, and she uses it to trace her designs or secure tiny fabric snips. And Claire has explored the versatility of this medium, and she shares some techniques in her new book called Machine Embroidery Techniques and Projects. Claire loves illustration and is drawn to narrative. Her portraits of people have stories that only she knows the true nature of, and she may add hints through the title, phrases or use colour to convey emotion. The narrative content is based on fairy tale or myth, and Claire rewrites the story to create her own versions. Their portraits are light-hearted and indulgent. They provide a haven from the harsh reality that we call modern life. Oh, I love that phrase. Yes, I think we all need a bit of that, don't we? A haven at the moment, Claire.
Oh, gosh, we certainly do.
Yes. Oh, yes. What a brilliant way to end your bio. Right, and as ever, everybody, all of Claire's links will be in her episode of stitcherystories.com. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram. She has a website, and she also has an Etsy shop as well. And obviously, we'll be talking about her book as well as we get started. So there we are, Claire. Welcome again.
Nice to be here.
Would you like to get us started with what you're working on and what's got you excited, Claire?
Well, what's got me excited is the book, but it's left me lots of things to work on. I don't like working in a lot of mess and untidiness. And at the moment, my studio looks like a hurricane's been through it. There's stuff everywhere. There's UFOs that need finishing. I've got samples that I'd like to complete and frame. So once I've done that, I'll be able to get going and sort of get rid of my mental blocks. Right. Because it was like a creative outburst, the book was, and it sort of left me a little bit drained.
Yeah.
So I just want to sort of settle back and sort of get myself motivated and going again. Because believe it or not, I'm a great procrastinator. I'll do everything to avoid the jobbing task. It may sound silly, but what's got me excited at the moment is learning how to value myself and my art, because I'm quite a shy person and I've got low self-esteem. So I find it difficult to blow my own trumpet. And I'd like to be able to say, this is who I am, this is what I do. And at the beginning of the year, I enrolled in a business course that was aimed at total beginners.
Yeah.
And it covered things like personal development. And that got me thinking that I need to motivate myself to be more serious about what I'm doing. especially with the publication of the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The course really did help me. It was completely free, and it was provided by the Coventry and Warwickshire Reinvestment Trust.
All right, yes.
They provide loans and support for businesses. Without that course, to be honest, I wouldn't have had the courage to set up a Facebook page. I wouldn't have opened an Instagram account or known how to improve my website or start listing things on Etsy. I've even made some video tutorials because there was a little module on how to do that.
Right.
So everything that's happened has been sort of a mixed blessing, and I'm just sort of catching up with the whirlwind that has been the book.
Yeah. Wow, there's so many things in there that I can start to talk about. We could be here all day.
Bang, 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 haven't I?
Oh, I know. No, but it's all related. It's all absolutely fabulous stuff. So I think many of us can relate to that feeling of, crikey, everything's a mess. Everything's piled up. I just feel as if I can't cope anymore. I've got to stop, take stock, and sort things out. And I go through phases like that, and I'm sure lots of other people do as well. In fact, I'm just looking around my office at the moment. It's at that, oh my word, there's piles of paper lurking about where nobody can see them, and there's a pile of stuff on the little coffee table here in my office, which is kind of covered in material and thread and stuff. And yeah, I think really what I need to do is that as well, Claire. So you've inspired me actually to pull my finger out and get some of that organised. But the other thing that, there's kind of three things that out of there that I've picked up at. So there was the kind of need to take stock after the whirlwind of your creative outburst, as you called it with your book. There was the issues there around self-worth, who am I to say I'm an artist, etc., which again we've had many guests struggle with that, and I think we all struggle with that in many walks of life, not just art. But then thirdly, what I really like is the proactive steps that you've taken. So you've identified areas that you were not very happy about, and so you've taken steps to address those and done that business course, and look what it's achieved for you. I think for too long we can sit and struggle around on our own. Oh, I can do this. I can work all this out. Sometimes you just really need to get a grip and go and do a course. And yeah, that's fabulous. And all the courage and all the things that you've achieved from doing that, I think is really, really good. So well done for addressing all of those things. So, I mean, you mentioned your book there. So is that, by the sound of it, newly published?
It is newly published. It's available as a paperback and as a Kindle edition.
Right.
The book was a complete surprise for me. It came about at a point where I was considering giving up my embroidery.
Really?
Yeah.
You were going to give up? Okay, right. Yeah. I'm really intrigued now. So you were going to give up embroidery, and then out of the blue, we have
out of the blue, this book came up. A little voice in my head said, check your emails. And it was quite insistent. It kept saying, check your emails.
Yeah.
I have an old email account that I don't use.
Yeah.
So I did indeed open up my BT account and have a look at this old account. And I'd been contacted by a publisher from the Crowwood Press.
Wow.
And she asked me if I'd be interested in writing a practical book on machine embroidery. At that point, my stomach went up in my heart, and I thought, oh no, this email was sent a month ago.
Yeah.
And she'd contacted me twice, so I really thought I'd lost the opportunity.
Right, yeah, I thought you'd blown it.
Yeah, I thought I had blown it.
Yeah.
Me being the great procrastinator I am. But I did email her back, and we met up and had a lovely chat and lunch in Burford Garden Centre, which is lovely. And she saw my work and saw the potential that it could bring to the book being published.
Right.
So I wrote a synopsis and sort of outlined what I wanted to include.
Yeah.
And this was okayed by their managing director. So then it went on to signing contracts and getting going with the real thing.
Wow. What a fabulous story. That's absolutely amazing. That little message in your head telling you, just go check that old email account, will you? For goodness sake, go check it. Yeah. And look what was lurking in there. Wow.
It's bizarre. I believe firmly that things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
It's happened all through my life, actually, little things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we do need to take note of those messages. I've had many things like that, same kind of thing. You can't put your finger on why it is that you feel like you're getting this thing in your head to go and do something. But yeah, it's important that you do heed those messages in our heads. Although I'm sure at the time, friends and family must think we're insane. But yeah, just go do it anyway. Never mind what everybody else is thinking about. We don't care about them. I have to say, I really like the format of it. Yeah, it just really does cover everything you really do need to know about machine embroidery. Pulling that together as an outline must have taken a while. So how long has this process been going on then, Claire?
It's been going on longer than it should have done.
All right.
The initial plan was probably about a year and a half.
Yeah.
In the end, it took about 2.5 years.
All right.
Because I had lots of things happening in my personal life as well as trying to do the book.
Never helps, does it?
I was busy at work. I had family bereavements. I had a car accident.
Oh, Cara.
So it did sort of slow me down a bit. But I had to make some important decisions to enable me to continue writing the book.
Right.
Work was difficult. We were very short-staffed and some of the shifts were 24 hours long.
Oh, crikey.
And I kept getting colds. Yeah. And I was getting really, really tired.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, I decided, no, this isn't right.
Yeah,
I need to go to the doctors. He did some blood tests and we found out I'd got anemia, quite bad anemia.
Yeah.
So that was why I was tired and getting every book going. So I took a little bit of time off work. Then when I went back, I found that the boss had put me on 12 days in a row with no break. And that sort of was the final straw.
Yes, I am not surprised. What is wrong with these people?
It's because we were so short-staffed and the people we were looking after still needed the support.
Yes.
But it just made me so angry and so cross that I thought, I can't do the book. And I sort of probably had a mini mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So I decided to leave.
Right, gosh.
So I could concentrate on the book.
Yeah.
And after I left work, it probably took me about 3 more months to finish the book. So I think I made the right decision there. Yeah.
What a difficult decision, though, to make. Basically, you're protecting your health, you're following your dream, or you go and carry on making yourself ill in those ridiculous conditions. And, well, really, I've got no sympathy for that business owner, that manager whatsoever, because is it any wonder they were short-staffed if that is how they're going to treat their staff? So what did it do? Made them even more short-staffed, you know.
Yes, I felt so guilty. You can't believe how guilty I felt at making that decision. It's bringing tears to my eyes thinking about it.
I'm not surprised, because you'll have been thinking about the people that you were caring for. How it was going to impact them, probably not the stupid boss who didn't deserve anybody's sympathy. And your friends and your staff there, because then you'd have felt like you're dropping them in it even more, kind of. Wow, what a hard decision to make, Claire.
It was hard. I mean, I'm lucky in that I live with my mum, so I don't need as much money to pay rent and electricity bills and stuff. I mean, if I'd been on my own, I would have had to have continued working.
A different decision. Wow. So anyway, given that momentous decision there, you've then focused on your book, and do you still feel it was the right decision to make?
Oh gosh, yes. No doubt there.
Fabulous. So there again, you see you have followed your dreams. You've been strong, very strong there in putting you first. So I think I think we're all throwing our hats in the air here at this one for you, Claire. That was just, amazing. So I think I would say you've come a lot further on than what you think you have in terms of, putting yourself last. Certainly that decision wasn't putting yourself last. So when it came to the book then, what particular things did you want to highlight, Claire, with your book on machine embroidery?
With the book, I just wanted to concentrate on machine embroidery and the various ways it can be done and the techniques that can be used with it to embellish the surface. I wanted to show people that they could do machine embroidery with the foot down and with the foot up. So my book grew. It was originally going to be just about free machine embroidery.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, I'm going to include machine embroidery with the foot down. So that would include things like underthread, bobbin couching, using the fancy stitches, and applique.
Yeah, and that really, when I've kind of been, I've looked at the book, and I really like it for that very reason, in that you haven't just focused on one bit. It's like, this is all the things that you need to know. This is the equipment. This is how you use your machine. This is what you can do here. These are the things with the stitches. Quite often we ignore all those stitches, but, the different ways of using those stitches and adapting them. And I really liked that aspect of it, in that it wasn't, I've got varying books on machine embroidery, and you look at the gorgeous the gorgeous images and the gorgeous work that's been created, and then you think, well, how the hell am I going to do that? I have got no idea where to start. And then you don't, and you put the book away. So yeah, I like the fact that it's quite a detailed instruction manual, let's put it that way as well.
Yeah, I've got lots of lovely books in my cupboard that I take out and look at and think, oh, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But the book, it has been great for me because I've been revisiting lots of techniques that I don't use.
Yeah.
And I made simple discoveries, like you can put thick thread on the bobbin and sew simple fancy stitches, and it does work, and it does come out quite pretty. And you can layer these stitches to make your abstract embroideries more dimensional.
So it's been quite an adventure of discovery for yourself, as well as you've been creating the content and planning out how it's all going to flow and what you felt was missing from other books, etc. So
yeah, it has. It's been wonderful. I've been given a chance to experiment with lots of mediums I've not experimented with before. Things like misty fuse and metallic foils and heat foils and all sorts.
Oh,
so
that sounds great.
Yeah, I just loved that bit. I could have written a whole book about metallics, I'll tell you.
Well, there you are. There's book 2, isn't it? Book 2.
It could be book 2.
Yes. So the other thing that I find fascinating, Claire, is that, the kind of first thing in your bio there was being trained as an ecclesiastical embroiderer and doing church vestments. So quite a totally opposite, really, skill than what you've explained with the machine embroidery. So how did that happen? How did you get interested in that? And then how did you move from church stuff to a machine embroidery book?
Well, that's another strange story.
Oh, I love strange stories.
Very strange. I call it coincidence and serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
After leaving uni, I went to apply for a job in a printer's.
Right.
Because I thought I could work up to becoming one of the designers.
Yeah.
Who did all the adverts and that sort of thing. When I went for the interview, they asked me if I'd got any health problems. I have a curvature of the spine, which is called scoliosis.
Ah, right, yes.
And they said I wouldn't be able to cope with lifting the heavy reams of paper, which is true. I hadn't considered that side of it. Yes, I didn't think about lifting reams of A1 paper or whatever. But he did say at that time he knew a local lady was looking for someone to go and work with her as an embroiderer.
Right. Wow, that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it was strange because we got talking about what I did at uni and all that sort of thing. So I said, oh, okay. And funnily enough, a few months ago, I'd seen the very advert in the paper, but I didn't think I was skilled enough or knew enough about it to apply. So I did phone this lady who was called Felicity Howardson. She took me on as a work experience girl.
Right, yeah.
So I did that in the sort of some holidays after uni. Yeah, so we sort of spent the summer playing and discovering machine embroidery, and she had quite a few students with her at the time on work experience.
Yeah.
And we sort of went from there. She took me on, and most of her vestments are actually machine embroidered.
Right.
Some of them are digitised, some of them are done by free machine embroidery. But we also did restorations of gold work, so it wasn't just modern work. Yeah, we taught each other a lot, me and Felicity.
Right, that's really interesting then. So I can see the connection now. It was, I'm sure everyone's thinking, hang on a minute, how'd you go from one thing to the other like that? What's the story there? Yeah, that was the connection. Right, so another serendipitous moment in your life where somebody knew somebody who wanted some embroidery and you'd actually gone to a job about printing. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You couldn't make it up, could you really?
You couldn't, no. I think somebody upstairs is looking down on me and laughing while trying to steer me in the right direction.
Yeah, crikey. Right, okay, so obviously you'd spent time doing the ecclesiastical stuff. So what was the leap then to really focusing more on the machine embroidery?
On the machine embroidery, right. Felicity also taught students machine embroidery on a Friday.
Right.
So she'd have probably about 6 or 7 ladies coming on the class.
Right.
And Friday I took as my sort of day off so I could join in.
Right, yes, you had a day off back at work, yeah.
Yeah, have a play. And because most of our church embroideries were done freehand, we needed a method of transferring them onto the fabric and to stabilise the fabric at the same time. Mm-hmm. So Felicity had been working with a company to develop a water-soluble film that didn't stretch or sort of leave sticky white glue on your embroidery. So that's how I got into the embroidery side, because she also had stands at the NEC and demonstrated the product there.
Right, yeah.
To get other people interested in buying it and spreading the word about the joys of embroidery.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. And it just got me back into doing my own embroideries as well. I'm the sort of person that needs motivation and something to aim for.
Right.
Exhibiting at the NEC sort of gave me the impetus to
I should think
make lots of work.
Yeah.
And through her, I also discovered the Madeira competition, which is run by Stitch magazine.
Yeah.
And I did enter that in 2002, and I won first prize.
Ooh.
So that really got me going.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It did, yes. So that would be another high point, I guess, winning that.
Yeah.
It really did spur me on doing my portraits, my narrative portraits.
Yeah, and you've got some examples that I've put on your episode that you've provided of the people and the portraits, and I love those because they're like catching a photograph.
Yeah,
it's people doing things.
Yeah,
to me they're like an embroidered photograph. Those I really like the style and the charm of that particular work. So you were inspired to carry on then with your Madeira competition. Obviously, Felicity has been a great source of inspiration for you. Yes. And, clearly the machine embroidery is something that you said yourself, you've kind of come back to. It's been the thread through a lot of this. So with those things, obviously, high point has got to be your book. You said your high point is also there in about winning the Madeira competition as well. So is there kind of anything else that leaps out to you, Claire, in terms of what you've achieved so far?
just keeping sane, I think.
I love that.
I think I'm starting to believe in myself.
Right, good.
Because I'm not an academic person,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing I'd been sure of throughout my whole life is that I wanted to go to uni and study art.
Right.
But I was bullied at school and I didn't do well in my exams, so I needed to retake them.
Right,
so I did.
Yeah. Mm.
I stayed on for an extra year.
Yeah.
Then I did my A-levels, which I needed to go to Mid Warwickshire College to do my foundation.
Yeah.
So I did that. And when I finished that, I still wasn't ready for uni. I went for interviews, but I didn't get a place in any of the places I visited. So that told me I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took a break and went to work in retail. But I wasn't really happy.
Mm.
You know, I'd worked in retail for 5 years.
Yeah.
Something was nagging me. I needed to get back.
Back to that voice again, isn't it, Claire?
Yeah, back to the voice. So I did a couple of night school courses in etching, which I really loved etching back then.
Yeah.
But it's very messy. And I'm so accident prone, so it's like ink everywhere.
Oh, crikey.
So I've done those, and that inspired me to go part-time at work.
Right.
So I could do an access to adult education.
All right, yes, and get back.
To get back. So that course was for 2 years. It helped me academically and artistically, and I met lots of nice people too. So then I applied to Chichester Institute, which is now Chichester Uni.
Yeah.
That was my first choice. I just fell in love with the place and the feel of the buildings, and felt right. And it must have been right because I was interviewed by Carol Naylor. She's a textile artist, and she saw the potential of my work. You know, I felt really positive. Mm-hmm. So I was so pleased when I got offered a place there.
Obviously there, you were exposed to a huge range of different styles and techniques and mediums. And I suppose it's like chicken and egg. Do you prefer to flit around from one thing to another?
Oh, I'm grateful.
Yeah. So really the course was perfect for you in that respect, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In that it indulged you in that desire. Yes.
If I would have had to stick to one medium, I would have felt trapped and I wouldn't have been happy.
Yeah.
My choice of textiles didn't go to plan though, Susan.
Oh, is this our disaster story coming up?
Well, no, I've got a few of those. I was heavily influenced by science fiction and graphic novels.
All right.
So I wanted to make life-size sculptures of people out of clear PVC.
Right, okay, that sounds interesting. Life-sized. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
One of the modules was manipulation and pattern cutting.
Yeah.
So I started to make these forms, sort of little maquettes of them. When I started to sew the PVC, I blew my sewing machine up. I'm not kidding. It just went pop in a blue flash of blinding light. And I thought, oh my goodness, what have I done? Oh. And it was completely dead.
Yeah.
So I thought, that's a sign I'm not going to continue with textiles.
Oh.
And I'm glad I didn't, because I think if I'd have kept along that pathway, I hadn't got the skills or the ability then to do what I needed to do.
Right, yes.
But I must say, Chichester Uni, it's probably the first time I really explored machine embroidery.
Right.
And my first embroidery I did was of Mercury on roller skates.
Right.
So that's my sort of sense of humour coming out, and my need to do narratives and stories.
Right, yes.
So I've still got that thread now running through my work.
Yes.
So it wasn't a total failure.
Yeah.
My tutor was really supportive. And in the end, I specialised in painting. I did lots of abstract paintings.
Right.
Which were sci-fi inspired.
Yeah. So again, quite different from where you've finished up now. So it's all, quite an interesting path, isn't it? Very much so.
Sort of wandering around, I think, and going from pillar to post creatively.
So, I mean, obviously, through all those wanderings then, Claire, with, let's go back to, the subject of your book at the moment, the machine embroidery. So is there any specific techniques in there that you kind of like some out of all the things that you covered in your book? What would be your favourite out of there, would you say?
I love machine embroidery on water-soluble film.
Right.
And I should say thread painting, really, shouldn't I, on water-soluble film. I'm inspired by the pre-Raphaelites, and I just love drawing people and telling stories.
Yeah.
And I discovered the best way for me to transfer my drawings onto the canvas that I like sewing on is by using water-soluble film.
Right, yeah.
Because I can trace the design and sort of break it down into painting by numbers.
Right, yeah.
Little thread change is represented by an area.
Right.
And I sort of mark the film to say stitch direction and where to stop using specific colours.
Ah, right. So that's very much like a template then, really. It's very much create itself a pattern almost with the film. Right. It's interesting.
And it acts as a stabiliser as well.
Yes.
Because it's stiff. And because the film's shiny, you can see where you've sewn and,
Yeah.
So you know that, your background fabric's covered properly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's really interesting doing it that way. Right, okay. Oh, I'll go and have another dive into the book then and go and find out about that, because that's one of the things that we struggle with sometimes, is how to get that image and how to get what it is in our head down. Yeah, I really like that approach. So with all of the experimentation then and doing your samples, etc., as you've been building up the content of the book, was there anything that didn't go very, very right and possibly was a bit of a disaster, Claire? Anything to give us a bit of a giggle about? Although it probably didn't feel funny at the time.
Oh, do you want a medical disaster or an embroidery disaster?
Oh, let's go with the embroidery disaster, shall we?
The embroidery disaster. Right, this little beauty happened before the book came along.
Right.
I do love digitising designs on the computer.
Yeah.
So the machine stitches them out for you. And I love magpies. So I decided to do a very large magpie.
Mm-hmm.
So he needed to be broken down into 3 parts so he could fit into the hoop.
Yeah.
Be embroidered. It all went perfectly well and he fitted together beautifully and sewed really nice. And then I looked at his tail and thought, I don't like the colour of his tail. So I thought, do I unpick it? Do I sew over it? I tried sewing over it and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So I had to unpick his tail.
Oh, crikey.
And it must have taken me about 4 hours with a quick unpick.
Oh dear,
and embroidery scissors because I didn't want to cut the fabric.
No, it's so difficult.
But I did manage to unpick his tail and re-sew it. I was much happier.
Yeah.
With the final result.
And colour of a magpie just changes every time you look at them anyway in the light, doesn't it? Very difficult to capture.
Yeah. So he's like a finished UFO.
Finished UFO.
I made the mistake of sewing him on black wool.
Right.
And looking back at that work now, I think it's too dark. So I'm going to cut him off and applique him onto a lighter background.
Right, yes.
But that also gives me another problem because the fence on which he's sitting has hand-sewn barbed wire.
Right.
And chicken wire, which I couched down. So I need to unpick that very carefully.
Yeah.
Because I hand-dyed the thread to make it look like wire.
Right, yeah. So there's quite a lot of... yes, I do like that term, a finished UFO. So you finished it, but now you've actually decided you're going back to it, even though it's going to be work, so you are then happy with it. And sometimes these things just dwell away in the back of our minds, don't they? And I think, it's back to that. Just either forget about it or stop thinking about it and do something about it, really. So... yeah, that's a good one. That and all that extra work that is going to cause you. So UFOs then. What do you tend to have many lying about anywhere, Claire?
I'm giggling, crying, and laughing at the same time. They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
They're in boxes. They're in folders. They're under my bed. They're in the shed. They're in the loft.
Oh dear.
I've probably got about 40 or more unfinished works.
Yeah.
The longest standing one is an embroidery of a face, which is on my website.
Right.
And she's sort of hooped up mid-work.
Right.
I am petrified of finishing her because I don't want to spoil her. She's like got no neck, no ears, no hair. And I started her 15 years ago.
Right.
So it's finding the courage to finish her. But I might find that my style of embroidery has changed.
Oh, I'm sure it will have been. Yes, after that's a long time, isn't it?
So she might remain unfinished forever.
Can she be finished, unfinished? If you see what I mean, does she stand as she is as a segment?
She could do, yeah. She's a good example to show people, you know, how I embroider on the soluble film because it's got a bit of the drawing there still.
Yeah, maybe that's the answer for her then.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe me just be brave and do it.
Well, yes, there is that side of things, really. It might just resort to, do you think it'll resort to tossing a coin saying, right, this is the decision, I'm going to do it or I'm not. And either way, I'm going to finish it. It's going to be finished, unfinished, or finished. Brilliant.
Don't we make problems for ourselves?
Oh, well, I was just thinking that, actually. It's like, yeah, everything has its own story and its own trail of but I need to do this, but I need to do that, which actually can sometimes be part of like procrastination as well, isn't it? There's always an excuse. But I need to do but.
I'm a great person at what ifs and procrastinating, and I think I must be a pessimist in a way. On this business course, they told us about a book called Swallow the Frog.
Oh, yes, Swallow the Frog.
It's about doing things that you don't want to do first.
Yeah.
Let's just say I haven't read it yet. That's how bad I am at procrastinating.
Go on. Yes, there's some good advice in that particular book. Yeah, sometimes we do just need to swallow that damn frog and get on with it. You know, as much as we come up with endless excuses, sometimes just starting is enough to get us going, really. So, which I think brings us back down to the pile of stuff in our workshop, the pile of stuff in our office. It's like, just stop with the excuses now. Get on with it. Just go and move forward, get rid of that off your list and get on and do something else and look forward. And obviously you're using that as your motivation, which brings us back to our kind of first opening comments about getting excited about, well, see, you're swallowing that frog, Claire, because you're tidying up after the creative outburst and starting again. It's like a reset, isn't it?
It is like a reset, yeah. I've got lots of things in the pipeline that I'd like to get going on.
Yeah, so are you telling yourself or making yourself get this tidying up, etc., finished, doing your reset, and then you can move forward without trailing all of that behind you as well? Yeah,
that is my main aim, to reset, because I was a bit mentally blocked after writing the book. I haven't got many fresh ideas, but I see that if I clear the decks, they're going to start flooding in again.
Yes.
I'd really love to do some more portrait embroideries and maybe delve into the world of fan art without getting sued.
Yeah. Yeah, walk that tightrope.
Yeah, walk that tightrope very carefully, I think. We shall see.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to for sure, Claire. And would you like to do another book, do you think, after that experience?
I would actually, yeah. I'd like to do one purely on probably stitching the portraits.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't included in the book.
Right.
And the book was already as big as it could be.
You'd filled your book. Well, there we are.
I'd filled my book. And I'd run out of time.
Yes. Yeah, well, we can't just keep on going forever, have we? Sometimes the hardest decision is where to stop. So, and sometimes that decision's made for us because you can't just get any more in. So there we are.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, that would be interesting, I'm sure, to start fermenting ideas for that as well then, Claire.
Yes, I mean, it might even take the form of a video. demo.
Yeah.
Because I've quite got into making those as well.
Well, they are an excellent way to attract attention and to get our message across in a different way. And if you've got the confidence and now you've built the confidence and you like doing those, then so many people don't have the confidence and don't like doing them, then, that in itself can help you stand out and move forward as well. So I think, would you have thought you'd hear yourself saying you've quite got into video?
No, I don't like the sound of my own voice or hearing the sound of my own voice.
That's a scientific thing. Don't worry about it.
Is it really?
It's an absolute thing. It is. It's something to do with how the messages, how our brain listens to ourselves, what we think we sound like and what we actually sound like are two different things. And that's why we often don't like what we sound like, because we sound differently to ourselves. Something like that. I've killed the science, but there is a scientific thing. You can look it up. But yeah, it's a thing is that, so don't worry about it.
Oh, that's fine. The way I'll get over that is I subtitle everything and have music over it.
Well, that helps anyway. That helps for accessibility for sure. So yeah. Brilliant. Well, Claire, as ever, we could talk all day, but we don't have all day to talk. So it's been absolutely fascinating. I love these stories. And I think if the one thing we can take out of all of this is anybody, if you've got this like nagging little voice in your head telling you to go and do something, will you listen to it and go and do it? Because look what's happened to Claire when she has. It's just such an interesting set of coincidences and serendipities, and however we want to talk about it, I think it's been a really fascinating journey, Claire, and thank you so much for sharing your very interesting stitchery story with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Sue. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been brilliant. So remember, everybody, all of Claire's links are on her episode on stitcherystories.com, and lots of places for you to go and follow her and find out what she's up to as well. And of course, there'll be links in there for her book, which is the Machine Embroidery Techniques and Projects book, newly out, and it's really great. I love it. So there we are. That's it for today. Thank you so much, Claire. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, Susan. It's been great. I've really enjoyed doing this, actually.
Brilliant. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, then please join the Stitchery Stories fan club so you can get an email when a new episode is released. It's a quick and easy way of listening and of keeping up with any news and information around this podcast. Please visit stitcherystories.com. Of course, you can listen to Stitchery Stories on plenty of podcast apps at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and plenty more besides. You can also ask your smart speaker to play Stitchery Stories podcast too. But wherever you listen, why not leave us a rating and a review to encourage other people to listen too? I very much appreciate you taking the time to do that for me. So that is the end of our Stitchery story for today. Keep stitching, keep smiling, and keep creating your very own Stitchery stories.